Welcome in, everyone. Breaking news here in the crowded booth. Billy Napier is going to be retained for the 2025 season, and it's going to be interesting to watch how things unfold. Ralph Leary is about to join me where we give our quick thoughts. What does this mean for Florida? What does it mean for recruiting? That and more on this instant reaction episode. Billy Napier's back, folks, here on the crowded booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The crowded booth with Bryce Koon.
Well, welcome in, everybody. My name is Bryce Koon alongside Ralph Leary. Little impromptu stream here on a Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 Central, where we have breaking news. Billy Napier was reported by Matt Zenitz of CBS and 24/7 Sports, and really, truthfully, Florida sent out a statement that Billy Napier is going to be retained for the 2024 season. So, Ralph, let's dive into this. Let's first take a look at maybe why this has occurred. And I'll read you this statement. Scott Strickland, the Florida athletic director, who has also agitated the Florida fan base a little bit, I guess you could say, too. They wanted a 2-for-1 combo. If Napier was gone, they wanted him gone, too.
Yeah.
But he writes, Gator Nation, I wanted to let you know that Billy Napier will continue as the head football coach of the Florida Gators. As we've seen these past several weeks, the young men on this team represent what it means to be a Gator. Their resolve, effort, and execution are evident in their performance each and every single week. UF's commitment to excellence and a championship caliber program is unwavering. And then he goes on to kind of talk about, NIL. I'm confident that Billy will meet challenges and opportunities ahead. UF is committed to embracing the innovation strategy that our sport is continuing to do. Now, he ends it with, I'll call on all of Gator Nation to continue standing behind Billy and this dedicated team while we work together to build a championship program. Ralph, immediate thoughts here. This is how I view it is we have seen that this, while the media and us and, different shows have talked about going back to the summer, that Billy Napier was probably going to be fired. And you've said this multiple times. And shout out, Ralph gave Billy Napier in Florida props on the show Monday night. But Ralph, we've seen that this team still cares. They still love their head coach. They're still battling. They're still fighting. So I wanted to get your thoughts. I mean, when you have to make tough decisions like this to overhaul an entire coaching staff, we know Florida's been through a lot of them in the past decade. What are your thoughts? How much does that mean? Like when you see a locker room that really cares, I think that does play a role in this.
Well, yeah, you have a coach that you have players that buy into the coach, into the program, what he's trying to do, especially at a time where your team has been struggling this year and last year, and even the year before that. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions for Billy Napier since he's been there. Obviously, this is a huge stepping stone for him in his career that a team is sticking by him. It kind of gives me that Stan Pittman vibes at Arkansas that last 2 years have been kind of rough for them, and they decided to stick with him for one more year to try it out and look good for a while, and now it's kind of starting to crash a little bit. But Pittman's gonna he's got all the recruiting tools at Florida, the resources at Florida to do this, and you saw last year's recruiting class, and and this team wants to play for him. I mean, DJ Lagway is one of those main guys that we said if Napier is gone before that Tennessee game, that was our prediction, Bryce. Was before the Tennessee game that he would probably be gone, or after the Tennessee game. He wouldn't play the Georgia. He wouldn't coach the Georgia game. And we thought Lagway would be gone in the offseason. And it's looking like Lagway's going to stay because he's a big Napier guy. He really likes Billy Napier and likes his offense there. And, they bought into him when Graham Mertz went down. Now he got hurt, but, he's touch and go this week. So, it's a big statement for them because they have a tough schedule to end the season out. I don't think they're going to make a difference in their season.
Yeah.
But it's huge for going into next year for them. It really is because it shows me that they're about to hit the portal hard this offseason.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, look, recruiting classes, they've had back-to-back top 15 recruiting classes. Currently, per 24/7 Sports, it's the 51st overall ranked class, which isn't great. But, you start to kind of look at special recruiting right now. Is it quality or is it quantity? And a lot of teams have 25-plus players already, and I think that's elevated their numbers because they've got, let's just be real, they've got probably 17 3-stars, whereas Alabama or Florida's breakdown, you look at them, they only have 11 commits, Ralph, and they've got four stars, led by Vernell Brown, who is a very good receiver. I've got the chance to see him in person. So they have some talent in that class. Obviously, they're going to build with that with Lagway. And I think with what we've seen out of this team and how they compete is the biggest pitch is going to be, hey, come help us change things. Come help us be and rise, to the middle and the top of the SEC. Now, let's also be real, Ralph. I mean, I think this is going to be met with some criticism from Florida fans, and I understand why. No Florida coach has opened their tenure with 3 straight losing seasons since Josh Cody in 1936, 1938, Ralph. You were just a wee little pup back then in 36, 38. But in all seriousness, Billy Napier is probably on the precipice of doing that. They play number 5 Texas, number 14 LSU, number 16 Ole Miss, and then just got off of Florida State to close out the season. But they're going to have to win 3 of those to get to to earn bowl, or at least half of those games, I should say, to get to bowl game eligibility. So they got to win 2 out of the next 4. But I am with you. They've shown that they can compete. And, we talked about this. When Graham Mertz went down with the torn ACL, it felt like, okay, there's the first domino, of an excuse a little bit. And then I think maybe the Georgia-Florida game was the best thing that happened to Billy Napier in terms of keeping his job, because you saw what they could do with Lagway and the headway, and then he gets hurt. So it's like the back half of the season, you knew it was already going to be hard. But now, in all due respect, and I know you gave him props the other day, Aiden Warner played well in a spot that he, as well as he could. It's going to be a lot to ask him to win. But wanted to get your thoughts. Was the Georgia-Florida game kind of the last? I mean, it comes off the heels of this, but they've only lost to really good teams. Alex says that. They've only lost to top 15 teams. They haven't got embarrassed, honestly. I mean, the Miami game won. To me, that's about it.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I feel like they've had a chance to win every game they've played in, besides the Miami game, honestly. And I mean that truthfully. You look at some of the scores, obviously 33-20 to A&M. For most of the game, it was close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and obviously Georgia, you kept them close, and Tennessee, you kept them close. I really do think, though, Bryce, it's that Kentucky game. That was huge. To win that one at home, Kentucky, Florida going back and forth the past few years. They really do not like each other. And that's the big rival game. And Kentucky thought they had an easy win going into this year. They got stomped on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud to say that Billy Napier I think that's the reason why he kept his job, is because of that. So.
Well, and it shows you too, Ralph, from a culture standpoint. That's one thing Napier, when he got to Florida, he wanted to do. And I'll just tell you this, just from talking with people that cover that program, there's not great alignment at Florida. And that kind of surprises a lot of people, because that's a program that you can go win a national title. You have the recruiting base, you can go win a national title and build a consistent contender. Like, there's no reason, if things go right and you got the right guy in there, you can't do what Alabama and Georgia have done, Texas is doing. Like, that's a place where you can do it. So I'll kind of add this, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here. Florida still has challenges, like you mentioned. It doesn't mean that everything's peachy as he walked into the office today and knew he was going to have the job. But bottom line, like, there's growth. You can't just keep firing coaches and hoping for results. I'll be interested to see what it looks like next. What the conversation is next August as we enter fall camp. What's the conversation? Because you'll have a good idea of who's on that roster. It's going to be really hard to project that right now. You imagine DJ Lagway is going to be your starting quarterback, Ralph, which you have to think with the quarterbacks that'll be exiting, probably a top half quarterback in the SEC at least entering next year. So I like Florida. I like the fight that I've seen out of them. I think that means a lot. Does it mean that Billy Napier's the guy for the next 5 years? No, but I do think he's earned the right to coach in 2025 based off what we've seen in just the culture standpoint. But if it goes downhill fast, like we kind of predicted with maybe Sam Pittman happening this year, I think they will pull the trigger at some point during the season in 2025. But just kind of wrap it up with your thoughts kind of going forward.
I'll just say this. I'm fully behind this idea by Florida. I was, midway through the season, I said they're playing good. They got a great defense over there. Billy Napier is going to get a good class this year. And not recruiting class. I think a portal class. I think they're going to build a team around the portal transfers this year and win 7 games next year. Get a bowl game. Start the uprise that brings more recruits in there. And this is the turnaround I think Napier needed. I think all he really needs, Bryce, was the not just the community, the fans and the players to back him up, but the school to back him up. And this is what he got. Now he's got some fans starting to, yes, we love this idea. He's coached really well this year. And now we're moving into, players obviously love playing for him. Lagway loves playing for him. They're gonna do big things. I think this is the stepping stone, like you said, for a good future for Florida.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that schedule does flip, and that would be interesting. It's not a different list of opponents. It's going to be largely the same. They play USF at home to open the season. They go to Miami on September 20th. The non-con schedule wraps up with obviously Florida State after Thanksgiving, and then Ralph, a victim of the Troy Trojans this year, the FAMU Rattlers that will come to town in Gainesville, and then obviously the Georgia-Florida game, which is that kind of Halloween weekend, but. Largely, Ralph, the SEC slate's going to be the same. Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas, at Kentucky, at LSU, at Ole Miss, at A&M. Now, those dates have not been finalized. The SEC, if they like Billy Napier, Ralph, they won't schedule the same way and just flip it. They'll help him out a little bit by maybe, just put FAMU, in between LSU and Ole Miss for him next year. How about that?
It'll be just some help. Help him out a little bit.
Help him out a little bit. But no, I like Billy Napier as a person. It has not worked out. I want everything that we're sitting here saying about Billy Napier, how it could work out, is the same thing people were saying 2 or 3 years ago when he was hired. Right. Yes, I understand that he's got to correct it, but I think at some point you can't keep cycling through head coaches. You got to give this guy. I'm good with the leash just getting a little bit longer on Napier, and then if it's if you start 0-4 something like that in 2025, pull the trigger, get an interim in there. And I'll also say this, and we'll clean it up and end it right here because Addie's getting a little restless. One of the big things, Ralph, was that people didn't feel like that in talking to people, they didn't feel like there was a clear-cut interim coach to lead this team. They didn't have that. So would it be weird if Billy Napier goes out and hires a former head coach or some type of special advisor that could actually take over his job at some point next year? Kind of weird to think about, but obviously I guess you have to do that when you're in the off season, but it'd be interesting. Ralph Leary, Bryce Koon, instant reaction, quick episode here on the podcast. Make sure you tune in tonight. We'll preview Georgia Tech, Miami, and Florida fans will love that as well. We will, shouldn't y'all be working? Dude, we are. We're working right now.
It's our job.
That's our job. We get paid off the YouTubes. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you find us on all those podcast platforms, and we will see you tonight, 7:30 Central for Georgia Tech Miami preview. Thanks so much. Credit Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.